Hello and welcome. This is the Market Wrap. I am Agam Vakil. We're taking a look at how the markets have done today and the week gone by and what we can expect going forward. Let's start off with Friday's session. Well, some weakness seeping in and the Nifty's come off by as much as 0.6%. Bharti Airtel looking at a lot of gains today, making a little bit of recovery. HCL Technology is strong ahead of earnings coming through next week as well. Yes Bank, Cipla and Bharti Airtel also advancing in trade. However, the momentum was towards the downside. Zee Entertainment declining by as much as 31% today. And that is perhaps the biggest stock move in today's day of trade. That's followed by Maruti Suzuki. Poor earnings coming through on any day. An 8% decline would have made it to the top loser, but had it not been for Zee Entertainment today. Of course, Ultratech Cement the same, wilting under pressure. Hero MotoCorp, Davos Housing Finance, all showing a lot of weakness in today's day of trade. How about the broader markets? Well, the picture is not very different when it comes to the NSE 500. Dish TV declining by 37% in just one day. We have weakness in something like a Lind India with a lower circuit of 20% on account of issues with respect to the delisting. Himadri Speciality, Graphite India, DLF, Indoco Remedies all declining in trade. And again, when it comes to the gainers, there is very little momentum whatsoever. But how is it that the week has turned out? Starting off with perhaps the Nifty 2. Overall, we've seen a decline around 1% coming off, but do remember we've seen a lot of consolidation come through as far as the benchmarks go, not just for this week, but over the last 4 or 5 weeks. They've been moving within a very tight range. Yes Bank, of course, stands out in trade considering we've seen that big up move in yesterday's day of trade following its earnings as well as an announcement for the new CEO and MD. Sun Pharma, of course, some clarifications coming with respect to Aditya Medi sales, because of which we've seen a little bit of recovery there as well. Reliance Industries climbing, and that is perhaps one of the other important reasons behind the strength for what the industry is holding on to some crucial levels there. On the losing end, of course, we have some of those usual suspects, which include Maruti Suzuki, Davos Housing Finance and Grasim, but Zee Entertainment is the one which stands out through the course of the week, and particularly on the back of the losses that we saw today as well. Moving on to your broader markets, so again, it was Sun Pharma, Advanced Research, moving in tandem with Sun Pharma, so that's up and about. Yes Bank, Interglobe Aviation recovering, earnings perceived to be better than what the street was working with. Inox Leisure, Info Edge India, and again, when it comes to losers, you have the likes of Dish TV India, Graphite, 8K Mass Software, Shankara Building Products, all declining trade. So it hasn't necessarily been a very good trading week, at least as far as the broader market goes, and a severe weakness when it comes to the advanced decline ratio too. But what about the levels when it comes to the Nifty? What can we watch out for? If we can actually have the open interest picture now, well, it's a very broad, rather narrow range within which we are expecting the Nifty to move within. We have maximum open interest now in the 10,800 put and the 11,000 call. It is a very broad, narrow range, but it's just 1 week left for expiry, the first expiry of 2019, and we're likely to see the Nifty close somewhere around there. We certainly have seen a spike in the India Volatility Index, and we're going to keep an eye on that one. But how was the week, and what were those events that actually influenced markets this week? So let's take a look at that as well. Starting off on Monday, we had SEBI, which had rejected Larsen & Toubro's buyback offer. Well, the stock really didn't react too much, but we also had China, which grew at the slowest pace since 2009 in terms of GDP. So some concerns with respect to slowdown in that major economy. Sun Pharma, of course, takes over Aditya Medi sales, and of course that has led to some amount of recovery in the stock too. And besides that, we also have an activity in Prabhat Dairy, which began the day of trade with 20% upper circuit and eventually closed with as much as 15% decline, as it sells 98% of its business, of course, on account of that, if you say for that, we also have Piyush Goyal, who's been appointed interim finance minister after, the current finance minister, Arun Jaitley, has been admitted to a hospital. And we also have Vodafone Idea board approving raising funds worth 25,000 crores, and this will be via a rights issue. Let's move on and talk about Thursday. We saw Yes Bank naming Ravneet Gill as the new CEO. Interglobe Aviation also has a new head in Rana Jayadatta. And of course, today, we did see a lot of activity. But let's not forget, CBI also has filed a first information report against Chanda Kochar, her husband Deepak Kochar, as well as VN Doot, the borrower here of representing Videocon Industries. So, a lot has happened through the course of the week, and that has probably also led to a lot of activity. But going forward, we also had Davos, and we had a number of titans of corporate India on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum and the annual meet Davos. And here are some of the highlights from the conversations that Bloomberg Quint has had with some of these heads. Listen in.
If they are willing to pay 100%, then most welcome. Please take it.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you a question you're not going to like. Are you saying this because you principally believe in it, which is exactly what you've explained to me from the single point of view? Or are you saying this because you'd rather have the Ruiyas come back in power of SR Steel than have ArcelorMittal, which is a global giant, enter the Indian business?
That is also, of course, the case. That,
wow, okay, that's candor.
Yeah, sure. That is, I mean, to have we are the largest steel producer in India, and to have the largest steel producer of the world sitting next to you, you don't want it, for sure. And if they want to come in, then they should come in and set up the plant from greenfield.
Jindal Steel has always been interested in SR, perhaps not at the EOI stage, but by the time the second round was coming for the bid, I think that's probably, we're talking about April, May last year, and they'd already thrown their hat in the ring. So from my standpoint, it's not a new development. I think my message really is the process is over. It's complete.
You don't think that his participation strengthens the Ruiya?
No, I think that was already there, right? Okay. I think New Metal has been disqualified. They have not paid the dues to the related parties. We have the winning bid. Okay. We have to follow a rule-based process.
I have been sort of floating this idea of 1st April 2020 being the Y2K period for auto industry. Because everything will change. Just imagine the complete fleet sort of sales, which is 500,000 or let's say 400,000 vehicles a month, changing overnight from BS4 to BS6. And it's a very huge task in terms of supply chain management, in terms of ramping up BS6, ramping down BS4. And now, since there is a constraint on not being able to sell beyond 31st March, we have to make sure that all our inventory is sold by 31st March. And it's very difficult to control that. So what will happen on 1st April? Very hard to imagine. In terms of meeting the norms, everybody is putting a brave face that yes, it's a regulation, we'll meet it. But the fact is that as it is, we were really stretched in terms of 31st March for manufacturing last date. What has happened now with the sales date being 31st March, we have been pushed another 2 months or so. Everybody will work hard. I don't think anybody can guarantee that they'll be all ready. What I can say is that for most of our high volume products, we'll probably be ready just in time. Okay. But some of the lower volume products may spill into April, May.
Do visit our website, bloombergquint.com. We have a special page dedicated to all the interesting conversations that we've had from Davos. And finally, let's see what we are going to need to keep an eye on as we move into trade next week. And starting off with the economy, we're keeping an eye on fiscal deficit on Thursday. A bunch of variables coming out with respect to the macro economy. So the annual GDP estimate as well, a very important factor coming in, and the Nikkei manufacturing PMI as well. Another economic variable which should be very important to watch out for. And of course, on Friday we will have the vote on account, which will be presented by the interim finance minister Piyush Goyal. So we'll be watching out for that big event as well as we move into next week. But what about earnings? And again, it's going to be another very earnings heavy week. On Tuesday we will have earnings from Axis Bank, Bajaj Finance and Bajaj Finserv, HCL Technologies as well as HDFC Limited. And on Wednesday we keep an eye on Bajaj Auto. ICICI Bank, Indian Oil Corp and NTPC from the power sector. We have Bharti Airtel, Hero MotoCorp, UPL, Vedanta and Power Grid announcing their earnings on Thursday. And on Friday, that is also the day on which we will have the vote on account. Dr. Reddy's, State Bank of India and Titan Company announces their earnings. So it is going to be another action-packed week, and not only from the equity markets point of view, but also from the macro economy. So it's going to be, well, a big day of, and also a big week when it comes to trade and markets. And on that note, it's a wrap on the special edition of the Weekly Market Wrap. Lots more lined up. Stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint, and we keep bringing you more.